Back with more Haunting of Hill House. This is episode 4 of season 1, and I'm really excited as always to carry on because I'm really enjoying how they're approaching the show so far, with every episode focusing on a different person, it would seem, and I'm hoping that trend will continue. And the last one was really cool, focusing on Theo and all her kind of powers that she kind of has, and her sensitivity, touching things, all the reading she can get from that, and how she seems to have gotten a lot of that from her mother, and maybe that's going to play into the events of that fateful night that they keep teasing us with, and exactly what went down with that. So yeah, some really interesting character stuff so far, and I'm really invested in the story, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And alongside that, there are quite often some very good scares that terrify me. So there we go. I do always try and record this show late at night, so it is dark outside now, so I think that really gets me in the spirit of things, pardon the pun, for a right good haunting, basically. And we'll see if this episode's going to be creepy or not, because the last episode creeped me out quite a bit. So will that trend continue? I guess it depends who we focus on and what the story's going to be, but I'm really loving the show so far and what they're doing, so I'm excited for more. Let's get into the next one.
You believe me, don't you, Abigail?
Oh, hello. This is the girl he's seen a few times, right?
Most folks don't know what happens to eyeballs in a fire. In the right kind of fire, they can melt.
Oh, God.
I leaned on my habit to get rid of that face, and my habit made sure that I never would.
Oh, my God. That's awful. I feel like
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Luke's done as well. That's what he's going through.
2 months.
How about 30 days clean? 60? 90?
Aw.
6.
Is he making
7.
soldiers protect him from the ghost?
Can I have the hat?
I think it's too big for you, honey.
I don't know.
He can grow into it. Yeah.
That
I love hats. I'm a hat person.
boy hat, all right.
Oh my God.
You like it?
He loves it.
Well, how do you know that?
It's a twin thing.
You two go and play.
Oh God, Luke's lost his twin. Oh.
I see an accident waiting to happen if you don't pull those down. Bodies swinging back and forth right there.
Yeah. I'll get to it.
Oh no. Is that Nell? Is that how Nell dies?
9 months. Her sobriety, it's full term. It's a fully formed little baby. Anywhere, 9 months clean as a palace.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I can't imagine how hard it must be to like go clean.
Tell them about your chip.
Yeah, I don't know. He won't believe it. They never do. It's kind of their thing.
I don't know. That sister of yours.
They
the
don't
one that
believe
dropped you
him.
off, She seemed to believe in you.
Yeah, they don't believe him when he's younger. They don't believe him now. Oh man. It's always like 3 minutes past an hour, isn't it? Ah.
I sent 3. Well, I only got 2. It must be stuck.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Go away. Ugh. No.
Joey chose to leave treatment in the middle of the night. This is what happens when we forget why we're here. I know we're all going to have a lot of feelings about that.
Oh.
Some more than others.
This is a moment we should all pay attention to.
All right.
Especially you newbie.
Please leave a message after the beep.
Hey, it's me.
Oh, good. He's wearing the hat. Oh, hello. Hello to you too. Occupied. What the hell? No, it's gonna be there, it's gonna be there, it's gonna be there, it's gonna be there. No, don't turn around, don't turn around. Leave this house, burn it down. Oh my god, leave, move away, move away. Oh my god, your mum's gonna die, move away. What are you doing? Turn around, Under the bed? They always find you when you're under the bed. Oh, is he gonna come in? Don't come in, please don't come in. Oh my god, he's coming in, isn't he? Oh, don't you dare open that door, you bastard. Oh, he's opening the door, you bastard. You know, that's just lazy. Either fly or walk, don't hover. And if you're gonna hover, why the fuck do you need that stick? Oh, he stole your hat! Well, that's just rude. Buy your own. Shit. Oh, this is horrible. Well, I'd be kissing my ass goodbye. Oh, no. Same. Yeah, that's a mood.
Hey, it's okay. It's
Aww.
okay. Come on. It's okay.
Can you get money?
Oh
What about
god.
your sisters or your brother?
Is he gonna steal it?
Yeah, she's always believed in me. Not the rest of the family, not so much, but
Oh my god, he's gonna be devastated when he finds out.
like that was you. Is he coming back soon? Or I can just
Oh, he doesn't know about these two.
He didn't tell you. I am proud of you. I am. But you have to talk to Stephen. Where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah.
The short story with the imaginary little friend in the garden. The one. Do you know that one?
Yeah. Abigail.
Yeah.
I put her in one of my books too. Something tells me Luke won't get as much blowback for his. Well, it's just an essay. It's not.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you stop just because it gets a little repetitive. One day at a time. When we decide to get clean, it's not because we expect you to be fucking exciting, you know?
Very well put. So shut up, Stephen.
No air conditioning, freezing. Muscle aches, stiff as boards, nausea, shakes. I wouldn't know. Well, she does. I guess she was there.
He wouldn't know, but he writes about it.
Just because you care about them doesn't mean they won't burn you. You're a good person, Luke. And I love you. And, yeah,
You wrote a book about everyone for profit.
that's all I wanted. 30 days clean so you can make me feel like shit again.
Yeah, he's not helping in the slightest.
Fuck you.
He's talking about support and everything, and Stephen's there and it's like bringing him down. This is from episode 1, right? Steve's gonna catch him. Yeah, the iPad. So he wasn't just looking for drug money, he was trying to find a place for his friend.
Amazing. Amazing.
Damn it, it's cold tonight.
Oh, please don't use it to buy drugs.
It's my arms and legs, you know? Muscle legs. I'm not fine.
Is he feeling now dying? Well,
Joey!
she's not buying drugs, is she? Oh, she's just gone, isn't she? Oh, come on, man. You get lost.
Hey,
What the hell?
I just got scared of anything.
Give him a fucking break.
I guess that's why I started using it in the first place.
Yeah, just bank him out.
I have to keep those things away.
That's what I figured. Luke deserves better.
I'll never know how it felt for them to be done like that. I hope I never know.
Fuck.
I didn't, and I'm so fucking cold, and
Oh my god, Luke.
legs are so stiff.
Oh, I like your bed covers, buddy.
And you set them up like this. Why 7? Mom, Dad, Stephen, Cheryl, Theo, you, me. It helps if you touch each one and count out loud.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you gotta do it a lot. Like, a lot.
That's why he was counting to 7.
Don't
Oh,
forget to count.
fuck.
3, 4,
Oh, he's following him.
6, 7.
Come home, my love.
Oh, what the hell? Oh, it's the car lights. He's talking about Hope. They're going to take Hope away again.
It was suicide.
His neck was hurting. Bent neck lady, maybe. Like,
It wasn't.
Jesus. Okay, if you notice the lighting's a bit different, I'm recording this bit the day after I filmed the actual reaction, so it's the next morning, so it might be a bit lighter. But I loved that episode so much. That might be my favourite so far, potentially. Every episode, whenever they like focus on someone else, I'm like, oh, I think they might be my favourite, you know, I really enjoyed that character. Now I'm really feeling it again with Luke. I really felt a very strong attachment to him. I'm glad we kind of got the episode all about Luke. I've been quite excited for them to do an episode focusing on him, because I feel like we really didn't know him that well. So the fact that we finally got that was great, and it's just so well structured and layered, this whole show, because you see Luke in the first episode when, you know, he's stealing Steven's iPad and everything, and it turns out there's just so much more to it than that, and he was actively trying to help a friend, and then it all just escalates from there. So I love how you feel this story progressing and advancing, and you're learning more and more about things and seeing more and more things, but a lot of it is just like flashbacks to what everyone was doing on this same day that Nell died. So there's not like huge passage of time, you know, regardless of like the flashbacks and stuff. Like the modern day storyline, there isn't actually like loads of time passing in that segment, but it just feels like they're getting so much because we're exploring all these different characters and everything. It's just so incredibly well done so far, and hopefully they can kind of continue that. I don't know who else we have to focus on. I mean, they could do an episode about Nell, I guess, but she's also dead, so can they do that? I suppose they could show how she died and everything, and I feel like there were hints of that in this one, with the mum in the flashback talking about, oh, you know, I see someone hanging up there, or blah blah blah. I feel like maybe that could tie into Nell, because there just seems to be so many like close connections with this whole family and the sensitivity and stuff, and maybe Nell feels a bit of that. Maybe Nell and Luke kind of, you know, they're sensitive to each other because of like their twin thing, but maybe is there more to it than that? I don't know, but I really liked the idea that those two could really like feel what each other were feeling, and Luke was feeling quite cold and his like limbs were stiff and everything because obviously Nella just died, so he was kind of feeling that, but he thought it was just because, you know, he didn't have anywhere to go and it was cold and dark and gloomy, and I just felt so bad for him this entire episode. Like, what a tragic life he's had, and then he finds out that the one person who like really always believed in him is now gone as well, his twin sister. It's just so horrendous and heartbreaking. Just the build up to it I thought was particularly well done, and just learning and focusing on like the idea of addiction and the cycle that you go through it. You know, recovery is a cycle, and it's not insanity going again and again and again. Like Joey, she gave a really lovely speech about addiction and why you will always kind of go through that cycle again to try and get better. I really enjoyed her speech there, and unfortunately she seems to kind of succumb to that addiction again, because, well, I can't speak from experience because I've never had to go through a recovery to an addiction like that, so I can't be like, oh yeah, that's definitely the way it is, you know, how Joey kind of described it. I can try and understand it as best I can. But I think addiction is a disease that people have to battle through, and it clearly isn't easy, and people will fall off the wagon. Sometimes that is part of it, and Joey unfortunately did that as well, and Luke was getting better. Hopefully he won't fall off the wagon again now, because he's just lost so much and he's gone through a lot in the last few days as well. So how they're kind of exploring that and the whole system behind, you know, recovering from addiction and everything. I really liked how they kind of explored that a bit and the highs and lows of it. You know, we didn't know Luke very well, but once this episode kind of kicked off, you know, I was really rooting for him. I was really proud of him. He was like, 90 days, you know, that must be an incredible achievement to get to 90 days, especially when it took him 10 years to get to that spot. You know, it's such a huge moment for him. And Joey had helped him through all of that, and then he tried to help him in return. But I think, you know, her going off the wagon and her addiction kind of got the better of her again, and she seemed to have abandoned him with the money she got. So it's a very sad kind of ending to that whole arc, because I really liked the connection between Luke and Joey. I don't know if we'll see any more of her, or if that's just where the story was going, and we just saw Luke somehow sink so low without having to fall off the wagon again. He's just gets shit on, that poor guy. So I felt really awful for that, but I did enjoy the kind of relationship between the two of them that they were exploring, and the fact that maybe you are in a very good place, but it's only going to take like one bad day, and then you might be off the wagon again. And Joey kind of went down to that cycle, and that moment where Luke leaves to find her and she just like breaks down. So I think she's probably ashamed that she's kind of wavered again, and you know, it's just clearly not an easy thing for people to have to go through and fight. So there's a lot of realness to that. I think the fact that some people just unfortunately don't win these fights, some people can and do. So I like how they're kind of exploring that. And I also like how the show is like, it can be scary, and there's that really creepy sequence with the floaty guy and young Luke like, under the bed and everything. That scene was so tense and spooky and uncomfortable. Like, oh, the use of sound in the show, like the sound design is just so incredible. And just like the image of the floating guy and taking the hat and everything, it reminded me a lot of the gentlemen from Buffy in that sense, and they're incredibly creepy as well. And this fucker was certainly creepy, and taking the hat, and Luke kept seeing him, trying to be safe. He was counting to 7, and I love how they went back to that with the flashback of him and Nell with the buttons. And maybe there's something in there, but there's kind of an interesting connection with like Nell was relying on these like buttons, these like small circular round like pieces of plastic that could help her through a tough time. Then we also had Luke with his 90-day chip, which is, you know, circular kind of plasticky object. And they're twins. They both relied on these little like pieces that were like very similar in size and shape. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if there's really that much to unpack there, but it was just something I picked up on that I thought was kind of neat. And the whole scene with the buttons going down that chute, and the third one took a while to come out, and then there was that voice, and you could see like a ghostly woman behind Luke in the reflection of it. Ugh, creepy as hell. But while there are those creepy moments, the show isn't like continuously scary, and it doesn't need to be. So I really like how it balances that out. It's a very emotional show, so I like. There's a few times where I could have easily just cried for Luke in this one. I just felt so bad for the guy. And how they've presented them in like previous episodes, with like Luke turning up to Nell's wedding and Shirley saying, you know, you can't be here, you need to leave. So he actually was going to go, and then he's like regretting that he broke Nell's heart by not being there. And he added it to like his list of things he wanted to repent for, I guess, and mistakes he'd made along the way. And him stealing Stephen's iPad was actually kind of part of a larger thing to help his friend who needed help recovering again, because she'd helped him through his initial recovery. It just, you get presented with these characters in the first few episodes, and then you learn just so much more about them through everyone else's eyes. And I guess, you know, if they're focusing on a different person every episode, maybe they're kind of unreliable narrators at times. And, you know, if Shirley isn't a fan of Stephen, and, you know, she sees him in a bad light, her focused episode, of course, is going to show him in that sense. But the Stephen focused episode, I don't think would present him as that much of a bad guy, from what I remember of the first one. But I wasn't a big fan of Stephen in this one, that's for sure. The way he's like told Shirley and Luke that Nell died, I feel like he could have handled that a lot better. Like, Luke was like hugging him at the end, and he was just there like, like, can I write a book about this, I wonder? You know, the lost hug that I didn't give my brother, the sequel. He just, yeah. I don't know if that's really how he is, but he can come across as like just searching for material for his next book, and very, I don't know, up himself, hypocritical. And the whole scene with Luke and Joey at dinner with, what was it? Is it Elle or Ellie, I think Stephen's ex is, when they were all at dinner together with them. The way Stephen like behaved to Joey and Luke, I just thought was awful and hypocritical. Talk about, oh, you know, making mistakes and like using people and like exploiting people. And I was just like, you wrote about everyone in your family's like horrendous kind of haunted house experience they went through and the loss of their mother. You made that into a book and sold copies for it, and yeah, you offered them like a price for it. You know, you could give them some of the shit, like the money you made from it, but does that even excuse it? And some people kind of hated you even more for that idea. So how can you talk about taking advantage of people at their weakest? So I didn't like that. Stephen rubbed me up the wrong way with how he handled that situation. I thought he was awful to his brother then. And I think Luke said it best when he was like, well, you know, I love that I got clean and come to visit you just for you to make me feel like shit again. That's exactly what he did. Like, how is that going to aid his recovery if you just remind him of all the mistakes he's made? You know, he's feeling that himself. He made a bloody list about them. I think Stephen needs to be a bit more self-aware of how his siblings can feel, and I don't know, he just seemed a bit self-centered and a bit hypocritical to me, particularly in this one. So I wasn't a big fan of that. Hopefully he can do better, and yeah, someone just needs to give him a right good talking to. I think someone like Shirley will probably hopefully get through to him at some point, because she kind of hated that he wrote the book as well, and you know, maybe that's Stephen's way of dealing with that trauma that he may or may not have gone through, to like write about it and everything. But you know, to actually present it as like, this is actually my family, this is my true story, just to sell that extra few copies, I don't know. I feel like that could be his way of dealing with things, but also he's not very good at the people thing, and he needs to learn to treat his siblings much better if they're gonna live healthy, long lives, and Nell isn't. So maybe this could be a big wake-up call for him to maybe put his family above the next chapter that he's gonna write. I don't know. So I wasn't a big fan of Stephen in this one. But I do like some of the story elements all coming together, like we saw that Stephen and his wife were kind of separating, and Luke found that out in this one when he went to visit. And yeah, just the whole connection between Luke and Nell. I really like them exploring the fact that they were twins and they could like feel each other's feelings. The creepy guy with the hat was... ugh. I like how everyone kind of has these individual ghosts, and I like that they kind of really went into that guy's story at the start about the girl and the eyes and the melted eyes and stuff, how he could always see that and he was haunted by that. And I feel like Luke was very much in that same boat, and he turned to drugs to kind of remove all those ghosts from his life as best he could. And I don't know if it was like they were completely gone, and then once he got clean, you know, he saw the vision of Nell, and then he saw that guy in the hat haunting him again. He had to do the count to 7 thing. I don't know if that was like always a constant, or only now because he's got sober, he's kind of seeing all these ghosts again. And we saw him with that Abigail girl at the start of the episode when he was young. How that was kind of always been a thing since he arrived at the house, it would seem, and the idea that no one believed him really, but Nell always did. She believed in him. I liked the scene in the last episode as well where Theo did actually believe him and was trying to help him out, but seeing the parents never quite did. And then that continued on into Luke's life when he was like an addict, and like, well, I say they're clean but they don't believe me when I tell them that I am. So that kind of continues to bleed into his adult life, and it's like about a completely different ghost altogether really. So I like that kind of exploration of young Luke still seeing all these different kind of ghosts, like Abigail and that creepy bastard from the last episode crawling along the basement thing, and the guy with the hat in this one, you know, that's how Luke's dealt with it, is to unfortunately turn to drugs and turn to an addiction and everything. But you can kind of see why he's gone down that awful path, and he's not a bad person, he's just made some bad choices, and I don't think you can blame like a 6-year-old boy or whatever, however old he said he was when his mum died, you know, he's like 6 years old and he's seeing all these horrendous things. Of course it's going to muck him up for the rest of his life, but no one believed him, so he couldn't really get help for it, or they couldn't just move away or whatever. So it's kind of all spurned from things outside of his control, and then that's escalated into so much more and such an awful kind of path for him. Ugh, I just feel so bad for him. So yeah, we'll see where they go next, but the ending was intriguing, and how they revisited the whole speech that Luke gave, that really nice speech about like the lights in the car, like the red lights, not driving away, taking the hope with him that his mum would come back, because he didn't quite understand death when it all first happened, and then the lights at the end of Stephen kind of appearing to tell him what happened to Nell, and saying it was suicide, and then Luke was like, no it wasn't. So oh god, whole mess. And yeah, the big standout scene for me, I think, was young Luke and young Nell with like the buttons and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and being this whole cohesive unit, and just to see where they've ended up now. You know, 2 of them are gone. Some of them, you know, don't really speak that much, they aren't very close. Some people have gone down awful paths, and a lot of them don't seem to like their dad very much. It's just a bit of a mess, and it's kind of sad to see that. But I think that fateful night where the mum died clearly changed them and shaped them. And in time, I'm sure we'll kind of explore a lot more of that. So yeah, an amazing, amazing episode. I really love this one a lot. Very fascinated by Luke as a character. Very interesting journey. There's a few aspects of him I really related to as well. Like the whole thing with like him wanting that hat when he was little, just something as little as that. Like I used to like really like having hats and stuff. I like hats a lot. I'm quite a hat person. So I felt kind of a deep connection for that. I guess that's why I feel a lot more protective of Luke. I felt like I really related to a lot of things about him. And yeah, I guess we'll kind of see how Nell's death kind of changes everyone now. I feel like every sibling that's still alive, I think now knows. So I don't know if the story in the present day is going to advance a lot more now, or what. I'm not really sure where they're going to focus next, but I'm excited for that because we still have over half of the series to go. So good stuff. I've really loved this episode a lot. Very creepy at times with that awful guy with the hat, but very emotional, some great performances, really interesting explorations of addiction and all that. So really, really well done. I loved it a lot. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what they're going to be focusing on next, now that basically everyone has had like an episode to shine, I guess. I feel like obviously Nell could get one. Maybe there'd be one all about the mum, there could be one all about the dad. I don't really know how they're going to move forward, because everyone who's still alive has kind of had an episode really, except maybe the dad. But I don't know if he's like, it seems to be focusing more on like the children as opposed to the parents, so I'll have to wait and see what happens. But I adore this episode so much, can't wait for more, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.